one of the things that I know made a big impact on me, and I didn't know it back then, it was very unconsciously, it was the fact that I didn't overthink. That was so important for me, because the moments when I started to freak out, worry, and I lost my first 4 Grand Slam finals in singles that I played. Like, I lost all 4 of them. So after a while, of course you start to doubt, and you start to, every press conference, do you think you'll be able to do it? Are you too nice to win? Like, those kind of questions, and they kind of, they stick into your brain somehow. And but the fact, just always try to. I played my best when I wasn't overthinking. And again, it comes down to those 2 voices in your head, right? It's the overthinker is the negative one. It's the one that's saying like, oh, you're 2 points away from winning. Come on, don't mess up now. Like, it's that. Like, whereas being able to stay in the moment, and it's so hard in tennis because there's so much that's already happened in a match, and there's so much still coming. But just to stay in the moment, every point, when you find a good routine, turn to the back of the court, play with your strings, take some good breaths, and then refocus and walk up to the line. Like, that routine was so important for me. And when I started to get frustrated or out of place, I just started rushing. And so to stay in the moment and have a good routine is probably the main thing that I would tell my younger self, is to really, really try to focus on that good routine and not be too stubborn to listen to what, my coach even trying to say that. On tour, I had a journal that I had to fill out after every match, and it was great. Like, it wasn't like going on the phone. Like, we didn't have that. We had to fill out our journal, and we wrote down.
Hey, guys, gold star here. I'm going to pause, Kim. Journaling, we talk about it so often, and just the old-fashioned, just handwriting.
Yeah.
Thoughts, what happened, keep track.
Who did I play? What was the score? How did I feel? And they were like, when I read it now, it was the stupidest. Like, it was like, my forehand, I was hitting my forehand late. Like, but that was important to me back then. So and then the things to focus on for the next game was, okay, make sure that I hit my forehand in front of me, right? Like, something that you can keep reminding yourself of. And when you write it,
it does make sense. I will say that was
it does. Yeah, you think about it and you read it, and it teaches the kids. It taught me from a young age to be reflective on is that how you say it? Reflective, on my games, and to learn about what was happening in the game while it was happening. Like, it's so important to be able to write those things down. I say that to my daughter, and it's like pulling teeth at times. Like, come on, please. Like, okay, you can vent in the car to me, and I did this not well, and when it was 32, 40, whatever, write it down. Just write it down so you can read it, so you can kind of feel that, okay, this is what I want to focus on next game. I have to be more active on defense, whatever. But it's so important to kind of, it's like the save button on a computer. I feel like when you write it down, you save it somewhere better in your brain.
No, that is, it's actually proven too. I mean, that's why when you study, it's today's world of just typing and having it digitally, it doesn't process in your mind the actual the way of.
I'm so happy you say that, because I always think there's something wrong with me, because I'm still like, if my husband puts something in our joint calendar, I can't remember it. Like, I'm like, please write it on our blackboard in the kitchen so I can see it, or let me write it so I remember.
Who did you look up to when you were younger? Who was your idol?
Steffi Graf and Monica Seles.
Good ones.
My sister and I, we would argue, who can be who today? And then we would go in the driveway, and we'd take my mom's kitchen chairs, and we would put them in the middle of the driveway. That was our net. And then we would pretend, and I would be Monica, and I would like do I would be ready, and I would do the double handers. I mean, we had so much fun. Like, they were, and
did you get yelled at?
That too. And, but just to try and like explain to people sometimes, like, what they meant for me is like when young girls go to Disneyland and they see their Disney figures, like, that's what Monica and Steffi Graf were to me. Like, they were my, like, Like, yeah, like that's what, how much I looked up to them. And yeah, just loved everything about
is
them.
it weird to think that people here think of that you the
It
same way?
is. It is very weird. And it was also weird when I played Steffi the first time and now I played Monica the first time. And Monica showed, like, I'm sure she's not going to remember, but in the Australian Open, like, locker room, because she had curly hair and I had a lot of curly hair, but I was so young. I didn't know what to do with my hair. So she was like showing me some of the products that she would put in her hair. And I remember calling my dad and like, Dad, Monica Seles showed me the products that she So it's like, it's crazy, like how, as a kid, you're watching your heroes on TV, and then yeah, a few years later, you're literally in the locker room, like watching them get ready before a game, and or watching them, doing their recovery, and listening to them when they walk into the physio room, and it's unreal at times. And now being inducted into the Hall of Fame and seeing my pictures next to theirs, and it's yeah, something very
And
surreal about that all.
friendships, that are formed. I mean, Monica loves you. It's like you're, to have built relationships with people that are your idols.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Like, to be able to met her mom and see her dog on tour. Like, it was, yeah, just loved it. She was so kind and caring, and it was, she was such a strong competitor, which I love, but then she was so nice. Like, she had no reason to be nice to me, but she was so nice, all the time. Like, it wasn't just once in a while when it like suited her. She was nice all the time. She said hi every time. Like, that's like rare. Like,
That's how she is as a human. I mean, but by the way, so are you, and that's your rep. I mean, the
but
good news.
that's the impact though that those like people have on you when you see somebody do that. Like, I was like, yeah, that's of course. Like, why wouldn't I do that? Like, why would I be rude to somebody? Like, it's yeah, that's all these moments in your life that make you say like, oh no, I don't want to be like that, or I want to be like that. And yeah, she definitely was that for me. A lot of kids, like, they come to the academy with the hope of becoming a professional player, right? But then there's players where after a while you realize, like, listen, like, you have to be honest, like, that's not going to be, maybe a future for you, but there's so many things that are like taught or learned, that you learn from being in that environment. And
Life
if you
lesson.
love tennis, life lessons. I mean, we had kids, that, when they became 14, 15, 16 years old, they were helping with the 2.5, 3 years old that were starting in the program, right? And they learned to teach kids. So, and there's so many kids that, stopped playing tennis, went to school or university, but they now coach, or they do, coach on the side, like, of their job, or I mean, there's so many, or they go into what is it, like player development,
Well,
or
exactly. We talk about that at ICL, that just, the one path you see is playing, but yeah, we teach things like, the business of sport, right? If you love the sport, you can still play it for life, but you can
yeah,
actually make a living in
yeah,
ways around the sport, whether it's
right.
a side, a media side. I mean,
I mean, we've had players that are now physios, like, who are sports athletes, like, physios, right? Like, who know from playing tennis how the way the body works. Like, they have more of a natural feel for the when you've done it yourself, and who go into sports management. Who, I mean, there's so many opportunities that grow out of it if you're willing to learn and you have an open mindset. Yeah, it can take you to so many different paths.